let's explore this material variance problem and material standard problem. You see the problem in front of you. Bandar Industries Berhad of Malaysia manufactures sporting equipment. One of the company's products, a football helmet for the North American market, requires a special plastic. During the quarter ended June 30th, the company manufactured 35,000 helmets using 22,500 kilograms of plastic. The plastic cost the company $171,000. According to the standard cost card, each helmet requires 0.6 kilograms of plastic at a cost of $8. And here's the requirement. According to the standards, what cost for plastic should have been incurred to make 35,000 helmets? And how much greater or less is this than the cost was incurred? All right, now to save us time, I've worked this ahead of time, so we'll just go through the logic here. All right, so the number of helmets is 35,000. That's how many were manufactured. The standard kilograms of plastic per helmet is 0.6 given there. So if we multiply those two numbers, we get the total standard kilograms allowed, and that's 21,000. Okay, so we just multiply those two numbers. Get that. Next, they tell us that the standard cost per kilogram was $8. So now we've got another multiplication operation to perform to come up with total standard cost. You simply take the standard kilograms allowed times the standard cost per kilogram. Okay, that gives us 168,000. Now the actual cost incurred were 171,000. This total standard cost was 168. Therefore, the total material variance is $3,000, and it's unfavorable because the actual cost exceeded the standard. Okay, now if we wanted to break down that total material variance of 3,000 into the price and quantity variance, here's how we do it. And I want to point something out. The terminology that you see on this screen calls the total material variance the spending variance. In my experience, the quantity variance was always used to mean the spending variance. This would have been total material variance. Quantity variance and spending variances were used interchangeably, and the price variance was still called the price variance. So I just want to point that out. All right, so if you want to break it down using the columnar approach, and I like this approach, the left side is always actual at actual quantity at actual prices. And even if we didn't know the specifics, they gave us 171,000, right? Now, we also knew the standard information. They gave us 21,000 kilograms at $8. So the standard called for 168. Now, the 168 versus the 171 gets us the total material variance. But we can create a middle ground where we take the actual quantity times the standard price. And in this case, we know that the actual quantity is 22,500 kilograms. Now, how do we know that? Because we have to come up with what the standard was permitted for the volume we achieved. And they gave us an $8 kilogram, so a price. So 22,500 times 8 gives us 180,000. The difference between the 171,000 and the 180 gets us a 9,000 favorable. Okay? Now, how did we come up with 171,000? How do we come up with that 760 that you see here? Well, we knew 171 was given in the problem, right? And we've got 22,500 kilograms permitted. Permitted is probably not the right word to use. We actually used 22,500 kilograms. Okay? That was the information that was provided. So, 22,500 was the actual quantity. We bring that over, that information was provided, and then you bring over the standard from the right side. That's how you come up with the middle ground. The difference between the 180 and the 168 is the quantity variance, and again, I've seen this called the spending variance. Now, you can also calculate it using these formulas. Actual quantity times the difference between the actual price and the standard price. So you could take the 22,500 times the difference between $760 and $8 and come up with that 9,000. That's another way to calculate it. And on the quantity side, you could take the standard price times the difference between the actual quantity and the standard quantity. So we take the the standard price of $8 times the difference between the 22.5 we used and the 21,000 that we were supposed to use. Now, you may wonder where that 21,000 comes from. That's the 35,000 helmets times the 0.6 kilograms. Okay? So this is a quick explanation to show you how you could break that overall material variance into a price variance and a quantity variance.